Naples 1, Westchester 0. FC Naples picks up their first win in the league since April 11th, their first clean sheet since April 11th. And Paul, boy, did that one feel good to take down Westchester in the Snowbird Derby.
Yeah, Snowbird Derby didn't disappoint. Had some scares late, and the team held, and the one goal was enough. And that wasn't a must-win game, but it sure felt like one. And really happy to walk away from this one holding all 3 points.
Yeah, the second time we've beaten Westchester. Beat them once last season, tied with them last year at home, and then lost to them on the road late on in the season. So a team that we have kind of had mixed form against, a team that's been somewhat struggling lately, and it seems like nobody really wants to play them though. But boy, did that feel good to get all 3 points, like you said, and then to also keep the clean sheet. And hopefully we're building up some more momentum now here as we head into another little tough stretch of games coming up.
Yeah, I think, like I said, I didn't want to call this a must-win game, but it's one when we talk about how the season should go and what you need to do to have a successful season. This was a must-win game. You got to beat the bottom of the table teams at home. It doesn't matter how you beat them. You got to win this type of game, especially, Westchester's now lost 4 straight in the league. Mix in the USL Cup, it might be a few more losses in a row. So Naples really needed this one as kind of the game off, the get right spot that we've talked so much about us being for teams, and Westchester was that for us on Saturday. And now we turn around and have to go to the team sitting at the top of the table. So the run is going to stay difficult, and I think having those 3 points is hopefully going to be a big boost for the team moving forward.
Yes, massive boost. And just hopefully we can carry some confidence now and kind of get back to what we had going in the early season there, where it was just win after win, clean sheet after clean sheet, and just ride this wave now into, like you said, Omaha on Saturday. And then we're another midweek match after that at home to Charlotte, and then back home to Paradise. Let's talk about the lineup here for this one. Pretty much a same formation that we saw out against Jacksonville. The one change, I believe, was William Arevalo coming in into the starting 11. But other than that, we did see Gio Magletti back as a fullback this time. So it was almost like the same team that ended against Jacksonville, with Rose picking up that injury. But Gio Magletti back at center back. It seems like this formation is starting to work, and we created a lot more chances. I know that was my one complaint after Jacksonville, was it never really seemed like we were creating chances, especially during this whole little skid we've been on. Really since that Orlando game, we didn't have a lot of big golden opportunities. This one, it felt like we were kind of back to our, okay, let's play down the channels, let's get down the wings, play crosses in, pick out players, and move the ball around. And I don't know if it was because we're playing Westchester, who has been struggling, or if it was just we're starting to settle into this formation, kind of finding our groove and getting back to it. Because then, we created a big chance 6 minutes in, big 50-50 challenge back in our end. We hit him on the break, and the header from Backsheen just barely goes over the bar. But when I saw that, I was like, okay, we might have something here. We might have figured something out.
Yeah, it looked like before the rain delay, it looked like we were knocking on the door and we're going to get a goal, come back post rain delay. I felt the first half seemed to be in our favor, and we were kind of due for a goal. And glad to see that one go in. Another, just an awesome strike. Looked like he got dead center of the ball, sent it to the top corner, back corner, right over the keeper. And didn't think that was going to be the lone goal in the game. It seems like when we play Westchester, there are a few goals out there, and luckily we were the one that got the lone goal.
Yeah, this game just kind of felt weird, like before the goal especially, and then even after the goal, the entire second half. You mentioned the weather delay. I don't know how I've failed to mention that. I believe that was our first ever true mid-game, pause the game because there's lightning in the area at home. I think we had one last season on the road at Omaha, but this was the first one that was actually we're stopping the game because there's lightning in the area. So Not sure how we made it in Southwest Florida without a lightning delay this long, but we knew it was bound to happen. And 15 minutes in, we heard it and saw it, and the alarm went off. They took the players off the field. Then a couple minutes later, told all of us to evacuate. I did make the mistake of ordering a beer right before the lightning delay, and then you can't bring the beer outside of the stadium. So was kindly encouraged by the security guard, who in good fun was like, "Yeah, you got to chug it, buddy," which I would not really recommend chugging craft beers. Maybe I'm just past my prime for that. But that was tough. Also, it was interesting weather-wise because when I arrived at the stadium, it was still warm-ups going on. The skies just opened up. It was a torrential downpour to start that one. I was hiding out under the merchandise tent in the beer garden, and then cleared up right in time for kickoff. And then 15 minutes in, boom, weather delay, and it lasted about an hour. But weather delays are also great because it gave me time to run up to the gas station and share a couple beers with my new friends in the parking lot.
Yeah, and Instagram story for the tarps off. Did the tarp in fact come off?
It did at the very end of the game. Yes, it was. I don't think a lot of people wanted to see me without my shirt on, which I think is why it was encouraged not to. But next Saturday, I feel like we can start a good tarps off section. Get that really going and cranking. That would be a lot of fun. Probably not when it's past 10 o'clock at night after a hour-long weather delay.
Well, I feel like the hour-long weather delay is the perfect time because the shirt's already wet.
True.
Yeah, that's as good a time as any to rip the tarps off and have some fun, slip and sliding down the grass angle, whatever, grass stands. I don't know what we're gonna call them, but
yeah, the berms,
the berms. So, yeah, would like to see the people that did view the story that may or may not have been in the game to vote. If you're gonna watch, might as well. You're gonna get a shout out on the show. We won't say who, but you could have at least voted yes or no for Yin to go tarps off or not.
Yes, yeah, that's a good as plug as any too. Be sure to follow us on social media at FC Naples Pod. During the games, we like to post mid-game stories on our stories, just match day vlogs. So be sure to check them out there. But sorry, back to the game now. You mentioned the Arevalo goal. Just a great team goal too, where we kind of took over possession again on a turnover. And I think we had 6 or 7 guys touch the ball. Ends up to Taylor Gray, who's out wide down the right. He crosses the ball, and he's got Cisneros and Backstein both crushing into the goal. Takes an awkward deflection. I'm not sure who it hit, but it looked like a Westchester player. Comes out to Arevalo, who's just right at the penalty spot and is able to a great calm as he finish. Buries it top corner. No keeper saving that.
Yeah, and if that's Bruno Fernandes, he definitely gets the assist. So I'm not sure if Taylor Gray officially does get the assist due to the deflection, but that ball was going to be trouble for Westchester. If he didn't deflect Jed Cisneros Backstein, that would have buried it. And luckily, it bounced to a guy who can also finish. And yeah, you walk into halftime. We talked about a lot last year on the flip. What a late goal can do for the team, and kind of thinking the game's in the bag. We'll come out, maybe get a quick one in the second half, and didn't turn out that way, and ended up having to fight to keep all 3 points. And I'm sure you'll talk about that next.
Yeah, we've said for over a year now on this show the best/worst time to score. Best time to score, worst time to concede is the last 5 minutes before a half and the first 5 minutes at the start of the second half. And that's exactly what we did. It was literally in first half stoppage time. We turn them over, we come down, we score, and we're sailing. Like you said earlier on, I didn't think that was going to be the final goal in this game. I thought we were going to continue to create chances, and we did have a couple half chances, and we were able to kind of put them under pressure, but nothing too big. So that was definitely the biggest chance, and we had the chance 6 minutes in, couple other ones too earlier on, especially in the first half. So to finally get on the score sheet, and then it was time to see what this defense could do, and second half, they held strong and continued to show, I think, what we saw early on in the year when we were a little worried about the defense, losing our two center backs. Here we've got a center forward who did play. We did fact check this after we had talked about him playing center back. He did play center back in college for 2 seasons, Migletti, but he, I thought, showed out at center back. We saw Hudson Gay, who looked really good, I thought, as our right back. Cisneros continues to just be a stud in the left, getting forward and defensively. Just overall, it was, you got to take your hats off where it's due. And then how could we forget, too, about Josh Grant coming in, starting. It looked like Delgado picked up a shoulder injury after that Jacksonville game. So great to see him after his call up to the Jamaican national team before he goes off on international break. He had a couple really good saves there in stoppage time, but not a lot going on in the second half as far as actual big moments. I thought we had a couple. Farine, I think, had one where it was just a dribbling ball in front of goal. They play the cross in, and he had a chance to bury it, but a defender blocked it. A couple chances there, but nothing major. Then the real excitement, I thought, like you mentioned, really came in stoppage time. That 93rd minute, Josh Grant, fantastic save to get down to his right and keep it at 1-0. How nervous were you, I guess, watching it at home during that stoppage time?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things when anytime you see the keeper come up, you start to just get a little nervous, thinking it's going to be a wonder goal. So glad to see the back line hold. Really glad that they did not give them the follow-on corner. Still one of those situations I don't understand why you don't get the corner in that situation. For those that didn't watch, I think it was like 97th and 50 seconds of a +7 stoppage time. And Westchester was not happy that they did not get another opportunity from the corner. We deflected so many big chances that one more might have been one too many. So we saw the collapse against Corpus, and I think some of that sticks in the back of your mind when you're playing in these situations late. So really good to see them hold and walk away with all 3 points, because that would have absolutely been a draw that felt like a loss.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was a little scary there at the end. Westchester was just nothing to lose at that point, throwing everything at the wall, seeing what sticks, and to hold on there. It was an interesting decision. I think if it would have been the other way around, we would have been talking about how upset we were that we didn't get given the corner there at the end. But because they didn't give the corner to Westchester, we'd also played almost an additional minute. It was, I think, 97:50 when the final whistle went, of 7 minutes added. So we almost had a whole minute there, and I didn't think there was many other serious stoppages for subs or anything during the stoppage time. I didn't write any down in my notes, at least from the game. And I was really glad to see the keeper not score. I've already forgotten what he did. I think he complained about something, or late in the second half, and the entire crowd that was there, now it's past 10:30 at night, was booing him every single time he got the ball, which was, it's something that, as a football fan, you love to see a guy get booed for doing something very obscure, something I've already forgotten what it was, to be honest. So if you remember, please let us know in the comments. He did something off the ball, and every single time he got the ball, we just whole crowd booing him. I think we also rattled him a little bit, because there's a couple times where he's trying to play with his feet out of the back and just shanked it straight out of bounds, out for a throw. We were able to run some more clock off and burn a little more time. But that was a lot of fun. And then we did see a little bit of fireworks there at the full-time whistle with the Westchester players, like you mentioned, Paul. They weren't happy to see the corner not have a chance to take this final corner. And then also down the tunnel, it looked like something was said to Hudson Gay after he had a pretty big collision, which I didn't think it was a foul live. Late on in that one, he picked up a yellow card, I believe, might have been for the response, but nonetheless, the foul was given, and I think the player that he collided with, they were kind of sharing some remarks. We saw security rush down the tunnel to try and separate them, and then both teams kind of jawing at each other. But it was, I think, a lot of frustration on the Westchester part of, like you mentioned, this is 4 losses in a row for them. Frustration's just starting to boil over that they can't get across the line.
Yeah, and definitely some frustration probably from our guys too. I mean, we did get the win against Jackson. What an awesome game that was. Not sure how much of my contribution to the pod, if any, made it into the show, thanks to Panamanian Wi-Fi. But this is, we're a team that's expecting to be in the top of the table, and we're not playing well. And so I'm sure that there were some nerves on our end, and good to be back in the win column. And you're going to defend your home turf. So if they're going to come at us, kind of as a fan, I love that response. If the other team's going to be upset about something that happened on the pitch, like stand your ground and go from there. It's good to see the passion that our players play with week in and week out. So they definitely deserve this win. I think Westchester asked some good questions, but we had the answers for all of them. So definitely deserved all 3 points in this one, and hopefully we can use some of that momentum that's now 2 wins in a row to do something against Omaha.
Yeah, you've got to hope. Derby win, a win against an in-state team, a league above. We're starting to build some momentum, kind of get back to our winning ways, and like you said, got to carry this into. It's a long season, and we got to keep building on it, and hopefully we don't lose it, and need to avoid those skids. It was not fun to go over a month without winning. Just we got to get back to our how we know we can play. With that said, who do you have for man of the match in this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna roll with Taylor Gray. I think a couple matches ago, challenged him that he needed to be better, and I think he has played very well. And that the cross that he sent in, yeah, it got deflected, but he set up that goal and he played pretty well defensively. That's where I'm gonna go.
Yeah, I thought he had a good game. It was nice to see him taking on players down the wing, going on those 1v1s, and not just trying to play the ball as quickly as possible, which is, I think, how we scored, was he was able to take on his man, beat him, and cut the ball back. So it was good to see him step up after you. Like you said, we put some pressure on him, said he's got to step up, and sure enough, he did.
And he did it both ends. He helped out defensively. And that's kind of what you want to see from a guy playing that position, is use the pace on offense and defense to make great recoveries. And that's what we saw from him. And I think if he plays the way he did Saturday, we're going to win a lot more games down the road.
100%. He's proving that he's, I think, a key contributor to this team. And it's almost like when he plays well, the whole team plays well. He's one of those guys, it seems, out there on the wing. It was a really tough choice for me for man of the match. So I'm going to name all of my thought processes, and I'll go through all my list of names like I like to do. Arevalo with his first professional goal, huge, the game winner, right? Hard not to give it to him. Like you said, Taylor Gray.
Before you go down this list, I thought we were going to adopt the 3 stars model. So why don't we kick that off today, and we go with your 3 stars of the match?
Okay. I like that.
Can you limit it down to 3 before you shout out all 11 guys on the pitch?
Yes.
Okay.
But first honorable mention is, I think, just because I could literally give it to him every single game, is Cisneros. He continues to be, I think, the best player, the hardest working player on the field. He's making runs late on that it's like, how the heck does he still have the energy to do that? He's tracking back, he's winning balls, he's putting guys under pressure and playing passes down the, like, just all over the park. Just hats off to him every single game. So because I've already shouted him out, and I feel like I give it to him every week, I'm gonna name another 3 stars. So we'll go Hudson, 3rd star Hudson Gay. I thought he had a good game. He's stepping in that right back spot. He looked good, was winning challenges, was tracking back, but also getting forward, doing everything he was asked of. Real young, homegrown talent. You love to see it. 2-star, I'll go Arevalo because he scored the game-winning goal, his first professional goal too. Getting the start, he I think stepped up and he played really well as well. Doing a lot of stuff off the ball, coming down that left wing. I think he looked good. Him and Cisneros seemed to have a little bit of chemistry too. And with Farine as well, they seem to move the ball really well down that side, especially in the counterattack. So he's my number 2 star. Number 1 star, though, and I said it on our match day vlog, and my man of the match is going to be Josh Grant, just because he stepped up big, had the big save there at the end, just to keep us in the lead, clinch the win. He was coming for corners. He seemed to be organizing the back line really well. He's stepped up, and 18 years old. I think it's one of those two where now I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, we can't have him get too good, otherwise he's going to leave in the summer or in the winter, in the off season. So hopefully
maybe the summer. Maybe the summer. Jamaican national team call up. Yep. He's really stepped up big, and it's not just the saves too. It seems to be the distribution has been awesome. He's kind of created some counterattacks, getting the ball out quick. So it was a little nerve-wracking when he came in for Delgado, but it's nice to see we do have a great young keeper there in Josh Grant. He's gonna make Coach Pullen's gonna have to start making decisions, because the way he is playing, he is earning a starting nod. And I think that we're going to be discussing this summer about who our keeper the remainder of the season will be. I think right now there's enough games where they can go back and forth, but we're going to get to the point where playing one match a week, and are we going to go with Grant or Delgado? And both are playing really well. But if Delgado's hurt, he might get Wally pipped, and Grant might come in and take his job.
Yeah, it's one of those that's a really good problem to have, that we do have 2 great keepers, it seems. And yeah, if we've got 2 guys fighting for the number 1 spot, I think it's just going to work out. It's going to be a good kind of competition where it's going to make both of them better. So it's excited to kind of see where that one goes, and we'll have to keep checking in and watching this and seeing who I think does get that number 1 shirt, because I think it was Delgado's to lose, but if Grant comes in and he keeps playing like he has been, it might be, he might earn it. No problem. So we'll have to see what happens here.
Yeah, I think it's tough when it's your captain that you come in to replace. I think, there's other guys that could take over. Cisneros comes to mind. For a guy that could wear the band. Who wore the band?
Kevin O'Connor, who I thought did. He's I think a great vice captain and great captain when Delgado is not on the pitch.
Yeah, so you got other options there. So I think it's going to be a fun storyline to follow. And I don't think that this is like American football, where if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. I think it's going to be great to have moving forward.
Yeah, it's got me excited now for the rest of the season. I think this win has and the people that I was talking to as well in the stadium, which I do have to shout out my new friends from the beer garden that do listen to our show on YouTube. So thank you. So yeah, be sure to listen to the show on YouTube. Also share the show with all of your FC Naples friends or non-FC Naples friends, because we don't always just talk about soccer here. But it's got me really excited now. Like walking out of the stadium, it felt really good, and you could just feel there's a bit of a buzz around the place with everyone else there too. Just something's building here. We've got our mojo back. We're back cooking, and what's going to come next? And everyone was like, I can't wait for a week and a half from now when we're back home on a Wednesday night and then a Saturday night, and it's got that excitement back around town, which I think is exactly what we needed. And all it takes is a win like that, and hopefully the players are feeling that too and feeling a little bit of that buzz that we got going and can build onto that, because Omaha is gonna be tough.
Yeah, I think Omaha is proving to be one of the best teams in the league. 7-2-1. I think it's going to be a really tough, really tough environment to go play in on Saturday. But we're not a team to back down from a challenge. I believe if they play, they're going to play Wednesday night, so they're going to have two matches in a week, and they'll be coming from New York, so they also are in a tough spot. I know Naples hasn't played great if you look at the last 7 games, but if you look deeper than just the results, I think that this is a spot where we can walk away with some points, whether that's 1 or 3. So I think it's going to be we always talk about the challenges that we have. Uh, it's going to be tough for Omaha. You're in New York Wednesday and back at home Saturday against a team that's sitting 4th on the table. So that's now won 2 games in a row. So really looking forward to what the team can bring to the match on Saturday.
Yeah, we'll come back and we'll preview the Omaha match later in the week. So be sure to subscribe to wherever you're listening to this so you get notified, and we can publish that right into your feed. But the thing that scares me about Omaha the most isn't necessarily that they are top of the table. It's that they signed Kempis Tequila, who was the guy that scored against us for Knoxville. The only guy that scored for Knoxville against us all season last year. So he scored 2 goals. And I don't know why that's got me worried, but he seems to just like to score against us and win 1-0. So hopefully we can quiet him down, or maybe he'll be on a load management or rest or something on Saturday, because he will have played on Wednesday. And I don't know how long the flight is from New York to Omaha, but I can't imagine it's a fun one.
Yeah, I'm going to guess that's going to be a 5 or 6 hour flight if you can get direct. Something tells me they might, because New York, you can fly pretty much anywhere. But yeah, looking forward to breaking that one down later in the week and moving forward with some positive vibes.
Yes, we've needed them. These shows are so much more fun to do, I think, when we are winning versus when we're losing, and the viewership numbers, I think, support that. When we win, a lot more of you listen to the show. So thank you again for listening to us, 2 guys ramble on about FC Naples. We appreciate it. Paul, anything else you want to add before we wrap up here?
Yeah, glad to be back doing this. My apologies for being out of the country, and appreciate you trying to, we tried to make it work. And like I said, I don't know if anything did get published, but it's good to be back on American soil with American Wi-Fi. So looking forward to doing another episode later in the week and continuing on with the season.
Yeah, we should add as well, Paul was on a work trip in Panama for his actual job, which also happened to be at an all-inclusive resort. So it was a best of both worlds there.
Yeah, it wasn't the worst. There was a lot of work that did get done, from 7 a.m. to 8 o'clock at night. But after that, I got to watch plenty of soccer while I was down there, and just thankful that I didn't have to miss a Naples game, because that would have been tough. But yeah, man, the upload, yeah, it's just crazy. The audio would not upload, cut out a lot, so we spared all the listeners the headache of listening to skips and jumps from that. But good to be back, and looking forward. We'll have another stint later in the season where I'll be back down there. So until then, we'll enjoy this American Wi-Fi.
Yes, good to have you back. Good to be back in the win column, picking up 3 more points. Thank you all so much for listening again. Please be sure to share the show with all of your friends. Be sure to follow us on social media at Forza Naples Pod on Instagram and Twitter, and at Forza Naples on Blue Sky. You can also reach out to the show via email. ForzaNaples239@gmail.com is how you can get in touch with us there. We love hearing from you, and be sure to stop by too in the beer garden around the stadium. We love talking to everyone at these games. But that's going to wrap it up here as we have recapped the Westchester game. Like I said, we'll be back later in the week to preview FC Naples' top of the table visit to Omaha on Saturday night. But until next time, Forza Naples.